Hello and welcome back to Tales from the Age of Men. And we, in the last episode, managed to take Orthanc, which of course is the capital of Isengard. Now, I must apologize for the lack of an episode earlier, yesterday, whatever you would like to call it. I had a small medical emergency, nothing to worry about. It is kind of a big deal, but I'm not actually going to get into it right now. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to let you know that that was the reason. it was actually a good reason, you know, not just me being lazy or whatever. But yeah, anyway, we're going to actually make our way in to fight these guys in just a second. I actually just want to make sure. Let me just see here real quick. Okay, we just want to make sure that they have taken as much damage as possible by the garrison, because the garrison itself is actually kind of minimal, but if we take into account the militia and everything, then this is perfect. This is what we want to see. Okay, so my roguery skill is obviously leveling up as well, which is actually okay. Now, what we want to do... this is not really going to help us in any, you know, significant fashion, so basically taking something that just increases raid speed, I think is probably okay. I think that's probably going to be the most useful. Obviously, we've got some pretty fantastic amounts of prisoners as well. I probably should have placed them in Orthanc's dungeon, to be honest. Probably should have done that, but yeah. Anyway, this is a perfect opportunity for us right now to basically land a decisive blow against the Dunlendings, because these guys, they're going to be a pretty big thorn in our side. They have a large territory, pretty large territory, and oh yeah, bear in mind, Grimslade, which is the final fief for Isengard, that is apparently well, yeah, I actually found that out previously in the other series, unfortunately, and I forgot about it. But apparently it's bugged at the moment. Apparently it causes a crash or whatever, and yeah. Anyway, I do appreciate it. Thank you very much for reminding me about that, actually, because someone from the modding team actually reached out and said that that is indeed a bugged fief at the moment. It is fixed in the next version, though, or in the developer version at the moment. And yeah, so there you go. Nothing really to worry about there. Okay, so now we just need to be... I'm actually not entirely sure if we really need to be super careful. Do we need to be aggressive? We could be aggressive here. What do you think? You know what? Let's be aggressive. Let's be aggressive for once. Let's go for it. I feel like being a bit aggressive today, so let's do it. Why not? Because usually we just kind of stand there and we don't really do much. You know, we just kind of stand there letting them, you know, come to us and everything. But I think actually it's a cool idea to do something a little bit different, especially considering this is a new enemy, right? This is a new enemy that we don't really fight that often, or haven't actually fought ever before. And I think it's going to be pretty fun. I think it's going to be pretty fun to try and figure out what we can do against them and what the best strategy will be. Obviously, as it stands right now, it feels like aggression is the name of the game. I mean, you can see here, look at the amount of damage that we're capable of dealing here. Leoric is getting a couple of kills as well, which I'm very pleased to see, because I actually did not think he was going to be that good. In combat, generally they are not really that good most of the time. Party members, party leaders, whatever you want to call them. And yeah, he's actually... Whoa, he's getting multiple kills. Wow, I'm actually very surprised. I actually wonder if he... does he have it? Do they upgrade their... I say this is the funny thing. I never really understand what happens with party members, really. Most of the time, party members don't really do much. I don't think they upgrade their gear, if I'm correct. Because if they did upgrade their gear, that would be actually kind of insane and really, really fun. But I don't think they do. I think what they mostly do is absorb your money. Yeah, they absorb your money and absorb your troops and so on and so forth. But no. Actually, you know what? It's pretty good. This particular guy, at least, this has probably been one of the only times where I have actually experienced a decent party leader. And I think there's been, maybe I can probably count it on one hand how many times a party has been efficient and or really, really good for us. And that's kind of sad, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, considering thousands of hours in the game, right? I have thousands of hours in this game, and yet I only experienced a handful of really good party leaders, most of the time they're just going to kind of run into the opponent and just get themselves murdered. And well, that, yeah, I mean, that could have happened to this guy too, but maybe we just kind of gave him enough space. See, that's the thing we got to think about here: space and the proximity to opponents. That actually makes a huge difference, surprisingly enough. I mean, you wouldn't think so, right? You'd think, oh yeah, you know, it's going to be good for a party leader to be right next to enemies so that they can do damage to them, so that they can gain renown, they can gain, you know, money, whatever, you know, whatever you want them to really get. And, well, most of the time, they don't really do much. They just kind of run in and get themselves killed, and then that's it. And the troops that you've given them, the very, very high-tier troops, I've had that happen multiple times in the past, where I've actually done a bit of a test, and I have provided the highest level of opponents, well, shall we say, the highest level of units, so that our forces can kill opponents really, really easily. And that's kind of what I tried to do in the past, and it has not gone well. Let's just say that. Basically, what happens is your party members, if you for example, let's just say that you call them for an army, right? So you call them to, you know, have a little chin wag. You basically just go, hey, you know, do you want to join me? You know, join my army. Let's go on a siege spree or something along those lines. And then they go, oh yeah, okay, yeah, sure, that sounds like a fun idea. And then what you do is you go in, you fight something with these guys, right? So you fight, you know, you do a siege or something like that. You go in, you are very successful, and then when you are done with the siege, your party members, they just put all of the highest tier troops that you've just given them into the garrison. Yes, they do that. And obviously, if you are a vassal, like I am right now, then it is actually impossible to do that kind of thing, because as far as I'm aware, I don't think I can access the garrison independently. I don't think I can take units out of the garrison if I actually don't officially own it. So that's obviously one of the things that is a little bit irritating about the whole, you know, party situation. And yeah, it happens, you know, it happens as much as you'd think, you know, it really is quite common. But, you know, that's just how things go. We now have over 1 million gold, which is very, very nice. And let's just actually have a quick look-see. Okay, so we're just going to get rid of all of these. I'm not really going to be converting any of these, thanks very much, but, you know, nice enough nevertheless. 15,000 for that, and a decent amount of roguery skill too. And now, here's the thing. I could potentially, I could take Grimslade another way. I might be able to take Grimslade another way. I mean, look, it only has 200 people there, right? Only 200 people. That is probably one of the easiest... Oh, look, it's actually rebelling as well. Yeah, that is one of the easiest places for us to potentially take. So I'm wondering whether we want to do something about that. Maybe I can try to take it an alternative way, and maybe see what happens. But yeah, we'll see. Anyway, my main concern right now is to actually eliminate GULDUR. If we can do that, then that would be wonderful. So the question is, I think I probably have to take these things, don't I? Yeah, okay. Let's go down there. I'm not a big fan of focusing on castles. You know this. You know, I've spoken about this at length in the past, and I've already said, you know, it's so inefficient to attack castles, because if you attack the town, there's going to be very, very few vassals there, hopefully, cross fingers, you know, earlier than later. You know, you really don't want to... You don't want to be attacking all of those castles first, because as soon as the castles have been attacked, you're just going to bring every single vassal together in the same town, and they're going to have over 1,200 troops or 1,500 troops or whatever, you know, dependent on the size of the vassals' armies, of course. And it's going to be a pain. Oh yes, it's going to be very, very painful indeed. So as you can see right here, we do have a garrison that's currently doing very, very well here. In terms of starvation, for some reason they have no food. They have no food here whatsoever. And just before they finish construction on this catapult here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go straight on in. I'm not even going to bother, you know, constructing any kind of ranged siege or even siege towers, battering ram, anything like that. Because I want to minimize the amount of damage that is dealt to our army just from siege bombardment, and or, obviously, because there is only one catapult remaining here, hopefully we're not gonna... Well, that is... Oh yeah, that is amazing. That is probably one of the funniest encounters I've had in recent memory, just purely because I very specifically said to you, yes, we need to go in so that they only get one catapult up and running. And yes, they only got one catapult up and running, and they managed to snipe us. Wow, they sniped us like they're using aimbot. That is actually crazy. Wow, these guys are very, very skilled. Alright, well, I think we're probably going to be okay. I mean, it is very, very likely that we will be fine, just purely because, I mean, look, our forces are completely stomping them, and it was very, very obvious that that was going to happen, just because, yeah, unfortunately, as you can see, they are now, well, yeah, we have to retreat, unfortunately, and then just go in for the auto-resolve, because there's 0 people in the garrison here, technically. And yeah, so otherwise we'll just go ahead and do that. There we go. And I don't really think I will take anyone here. No, I don't think so. Okay, yeah, so that was, shall we say, not ideal. I would have liked to have fought a little bit there, but we have fought in quite a few sieges, so I suppose it doesn't really matter too much. You know, it's not really a big deal. Not really a massive deal, at least. And let me actually just see here. Is everything... Oh, yeah, look at this. Very nice. Okay, everything seems to be working very, very well here. Now we just need to take this. It is going to take a little bit of time to do this one. Oh, actually, maybe not. 179. I thought there would be so many more people here, but apparently not. Okay, so hopefully that's going to work out quite well. Thranduil has just been... What? He has just been taken prisoner. Okay, I'm not entirely sure who the Moonfang Reavers are, but it's actually quite funny that he himself has got himself taken prisoner. I don't know. I don't understand how that can even be the case. I don't really want to get this for myself, to be honest, so I'm actually gonna... Oh, no, really? Even if I spend 100? Oh, it's because these guys are both supporting me right now. That is actually kind of bad. It's nice of them, don't get me wrong. Very, very nice of them, but this is not the time to be generous. I'm not a big fan of holding all of these keeps and castles and things like that. I'd much prefer just to... I mean, I obviously have Orthanc. I have Orthanc itself, so there is basically no reason for me to be gaining any fiefs from now on. It is fundamentally just... you know, we are just basically a millionaire now, so, you know, it's more than enough. I don't need anything more than that. That's the crazy part. I'm not one of those people that is obsessed with numbers going higher unless you're playing an idle game or incremental RPG of some kind. But yes, those are the kinds of things that don't really concern me. It's more happiness with life. That's the name of the game. You want to be happy in life, and sometimes money will lead you there, of course, but only to a point. You see, only to a point. Because if you go and decide, oh yes, I would like to make $3 trillion, that's not really going to do anything most of the time, because $3 trillion, what are you going to buy with that? You know, what are you going to buy with that? I mean, you could try to go for world peace, but yeah, let's face it, let's not do that. No, let's not go for anything that improves humanity. Let's just go for another super yacht. Yeah, that sounds like a... never mind. You know what? I'm going to go on a huge tangent about this, so I'm going to just shut up now, because we are doing pretty well in terms of gold here, so, you know, that's pretty nice. I mean, I don't really need anything else, unless we come across a nice piece of armor, or, well, highly doubt a weapon is going to be better than what I have, but you never know, right? You never know. Maybe we're going to find something, but... Yeah, so this is going to be kind of interesting because obviously I am kind of in a situation here where these guys are just blocking every single thing that they can do. There we go. Okay, kill that guy, and nice. Okay, now we can maybe go off on a little bit of our own little expedition here. And I know I've said time and time again in the previous episode, especially I said, oh yes, sometimes it's not a particularly good idea to charge off by yourself, because if you do that, you're leaving your own forces to their own devices. And sometimes that can make things a little bit uncomfortable because they're going to get killed a lot faster without you than they would with you. And so, yeah, sometimes it's not a good idea, but other times it's quite fun, you know? I actually think it's really, really fun to do these kinds of excursions because it does have the opportunity for you to kind of, you know, hone your skills a little bit, maybe get a couple of extra kills, maybe see some new scenery, environments, and so on that you necessarily wouldn't have seen otherwise, and various other situations that can be quite entertaining. And that's kind of what I'm going for, you know? It's kind of what I'm going for, you know? It's kind of the name of the game, as it were. Well, the name of the game is technically Bannerlord, but, you know, you get my point. Yes, you get my point. And my forces are obviously going to be completely and utterly destroying every single person here, so it's not really something that we need to be too overly concerned with. So, I'm just going to go speed, and there it is. Is that it? Yes, that is it. We still seem to be attacking something. There we go, there's the end. Unfortunately, as you can quite clearly tell, we still have zero. We actually have zero defenders, so I will have to retreat once again and do the standard auto-resolve to finish them off. It's actually quite funny because obviously if I do this, you can see here that there's literally just 2 black Uruk archers. Actually very, very funny. Okay, so we can move on. Nothing really to worry about here. I could take some Rohan units if I wanted to, but that's not something that I'm particularly interested in either. So we're just going to move on from here now as well. Hopefully they're not going to give me this. I really do not want to take this for myself if at all possible. So let me see. Okay, I think Oldburg is probably the way to go. Let me actually just see how many. I only have 50. Okay, I only have 51 people in the garrison here, but it's highly, highly unlikely anyone is going to go after this, considering the amount of defenders. Am I right? Maybe. I don't know, but I can only hope that it's going to be completely fine. Let's try to get a little bit more cohesion here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go... Whoa, okay, Oldburg is looking pretty dangerous. Wow, Morlad is also looking very, very dangerous indeed. So it looks as though Oldburg is going to be the one we go for just purely because it is the last one. You know what I should have done? I should have left... Yeah, okay, wait. I should have done that. Ooh, that might have been a big mistake, actually. Anyway, yeah, what I should have done was leave one of these castles. Not both of them, but just one of them. Should have left one of them. And then literally just... Wow, okay, they are still wanting these to be going to me. This is really bad. This is super, super bad. I really do not want to have these castles. I'm not very good at taking care of them, to be fair, you know, to begin with, because, frankly, I don't care about them that much. They don't really provide us with a huge amount of benefit, unfortunately. The only thing they do provide us is, obviously, territorial control, which is kind of nice, but... yeah, it doesn't really do much anyway, as it is. Okay, so yeah, Oldburg it is, and then we'll see what we can do. This is going to be very harsh, in my opinion. Ooh, wait a minute. Is he going to go in there? No, he's not going to go in there. Okay, that's actually very thankfully good, because otherwise I was going to be very, very worried, because he's the fellow, I believe, that has 450 in medicine or something like that, which is going to be rather insane. Oh, we have some... Oh, look at this. We actually have some allies coming along here. Wow, that is extremely rare. Usually we're never going to see that, right? Usually we never see anyone coming along. And as you can see, he's now getting himself taken prisoner. Of course he is. The one time that we have, you know, someone helping us out, that is just so, you know, hilarious. And yeah, there you go. Look, it is actually a Nazgul here. Someone actually told me that it was a Nazgul. He has 470 medicine skill. Yeah. And he has 880 in leadership, 630 in steward. No wonder he can run around with so many troops. It's actually kind of insane. All right, so let's actually just take a quick look and see how long this is. Actually, I think we might have a pretty good shot at being able to destroy the walls here quite fast. Alright, so it's time for us to go in against the wonderful, wonderful garrison here at Oldburg. And I'm just going to get a couple of Gondor Elite Pikemen. I'm actually very much looking forward to doing a series on Gondor, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to try, if I can, to get the next version, right? I'm going to get the next version of the mod, and then we can experience some of the new features, and obviously Gondor is going to be a little bit reworked as well, because apparently at the moment, Gondor is a little bit weaker, potentially, and as far as I'm aware, at least, the modding team, or at least one of them, has said in the comments at some point that they have taken it under advisement that Gondor is not very good, and so they're going to be buffing them a little bit, going to be buffing them up, making sure that they're, drinking their protein shakes and doing the pull-ups and the various frogman jumping. I don't even know what. What do people do nowadays? I don't know. What's the latest fad in fitness? I don't know. I'm not entirely sure, but whatever the case. Oh, let's try not to get absolutely murdered by this troll. Yeah, there we go. Wait. There we go. Nice. Okay. Whew. That was a little bit close for my liking. Wow. Whoa, that is very cool. That is very, very cool. I love the unique models of the trolls. Really, really fun. Super, super fun to have these trolls actually be so large and actually be... I don't know. It feels very natural for them to be here. You know what I mean? It feels very, very natural for them to be here, and it doesn't look as though... Well, it doesn't look as though they're some weird modded thing. You know what I mean? It doesn't look like that. And that's great, It looks like they are a part of the landscape, and that's exactly what it should be, And that's... it's just wonderful. It's just absolutely wonderful to see that. Oh, hello, we got some archers. Give me these. I'm gonna feast on them. Yes. Feast on their bones. Yes, that's actually not what we do. We're elves. What do we do? Give them advice on what kind of compost to use in their garden, I guess, or something along those lines. I don't know. What do they do? I'm not sure. I'm obviously joking. We can probably give them... We could probably give them some very good tips on how to hide ancient artifacts behind a riddle or two, And it's going to be... there's going to be a wall in between, So it's going to be... the secret is going to be hidden behind a secret wall, and the secret wall itself is going to have some elvish writing on it. And you've got to scan it with a certain mode, so that you can then learn the phrase of what's going on in the in the Elvish language right there. Oh, hello, we got loads of people. If you couldn't tell, I was actually talking about the Middle-earth games, Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor, of course. And yeah, I was talking about how you did have to, I think somewhat, I'm not entirely sure if it was really scanning as such, but it was more like finding these elvish phrases, and it would provide you with something. I can't remember I can't remember what it actually provided, because it has been, I believe, and now don't quote me if I'm well, correct me if I'm wrong, actually, because don't quote me on this. Haha. There we go. My two most used phrases ever, apparently. Anyway, the point is, it's been 11 years, I think. I think it's been 11 years since I have played that game on my channel. You know what I'm actually going to do right now? I am going to type. You're going to hear me type, potentially, and I'm going to type it out. Shadow of War. And I'm going to look at how long it has literally been since I uploaded that. No, it has only been 7 years, actually. It has only been 7 years. Okay, well, that's not that bad. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. It's been 7 years. I mean, that is quite a long time, right? That is quite a long time, but still. Yeah. Anyway, the point is, I really love those games. I think those games are absolutely fantastic. Really, really cool. It's just such a shame. Warner Brothers, weren't they? They're the ones that have the patent, right? Yeah, I think they're the ones that have the patent on the Nemesis system. So no one else can use the Nemesis system and the way that it works and all that stuff unless Warner Brothers say that it's okay. But Warner Brothers is up for a sale, isn't it? I think Warner Brothers is actually up for sale. So technically, whoever buys them, if they actually do get sold, they are going to be the ones that will then have the patent, and then they can decide on what they want to do with it. And hopefully it's actually going to go to someone that will utilize it for an actual game, please. because the Nemesis system is literally one of the best I have ever seen. It's one of those mechanics, you know, it's one of those mechanics where you just kind of go, wow, what emergent storytelling is this? This is just amazing, you know. It's like, yeah. I don't even know how to really quantify how cool it actually is, because there are so many different moments and so many stories that I've heard from people that have played the game, and they just it just creates these moments that are so amazing. For example, there was one story that I saw actually not even a year ago, because the game is still obviously very popular. And there are still people, you know, making content on it. There are still people finding out extra things about it. You know, there are still people finding new types of orcs, if you can believe it, which is actually crazy if you think about how long it's been. Anyway, the point is, the story goes like this. There was a guy, some random orc that was wanting to ambush this, you know, this player, and he ambushed him successfully, managed to, you know, get him pretty low in HP and all that stuff, but then obviously the player managed to win in the end. And then what happened was the guy got his head cut off, right? He got decapitated by the player, so the orc was now dead, technically, right? Dead. But now here's the funny thing. Then later on in the playthrough, the orc or uruk or whatever it was, he came alive and he had his head sewn on. His head was literally sewn on somehow. And then he had like some weird new name, and he had leveled up, and it was just so cool, because then they had to fight each other again, and this orc had obviously leveled up, and as I said, he had gained new skills, and he was more dangerous. And yeah, and then there was just like a long-running feud. This whole situation was this orc and the player having a feud all throughout the playthrough, and it was just absolutely amazing to actually hear about that, because those are the kinds of things that you want in games like that. And I'm talking about games like, obviously, Shadow of War. I'm talking about RimWorld. RimWorld is another one of those games that has such emergent storytelling. Like, it's just all about your own personal experiences. You yourself, you know, as in the player. If you are getting some kind of event or situation that is unique to you, and you are the one, and your interactions with the game world shape the overall narrative, that is some of the best that you can get. Obviously, yeah, that's not saying that you know, heavily scripted linear experiences in terms of narrative are bad. On the contrary, that is not bad at all. What I'm saying is, this is just one of those things that I really, really enjoy, and that's why I'm hoping that maybe the Nemesis system will show itself in the near future. Who knows? Maybe it will be. But yeah, we'll see anyway. So Dol Guldur, as you can see, is now starving. Actually, hilariously enough, they are starving. I didn't even realize that at the time. And they're now going to get their walls bombarded as well, and hopefully we'll be able to go in there and capture it. Alright, so before we go into the siege and, well, hopefully try to eliminate, we're going to go for mounted scouts, I guess, and hopefully eliminate Dol Guldur from the entire game, actually. We're going to just spec that point. Now, we can hopefully make our way in very aggressively here. I'm kind of hoping we'll be able to do that. You know, if we can do some really, really nice aggression, we might be able to beat their pants off before they even know what's going on. And then it's game over for them. Can you imagine? Oh, wow. Yeah, we don't really want to imagine that. I mean, these guys are uruks, so it's probably not the most attractive sight ever. Anyway, we'll see what we can do. I'm going to go and, as I said, I'm going to try to be... Oh, okay, I was kind of hoping that I could be hyper-aggressive, but unfortunately they decided to stop me. They decided to stop my horse from getting through. But that's okay, because we now have this. Oh, yeah. There we go. Big damage, big damage. If they're attacking me, then they are not defending, which is absolutely perfect, because that means I can now slice through them even easier. Yes. Okay, now let's go forward. Try to clear out the front lines. I wish I had a mount that could penetrate all of these individuals, but unfortunately that is probably not what's going to happen here. We just don't have enough speed, enough power. It's not going to work. Alright, I'm gonna get off my mount. I have to be a little bit careful here as well. I do not want to get into a situation where I am gonna get surrounded and killed, because that can happen very, very easily. And yeah, you thought, right? You thought, yeah. Because as soon as I said, immediately I had a bunch of Uruks around me, and I'm pretty sure you thought that was it. That was it for me. Maybe you thought that. I don't know. Anyway, the point is, we're still alive. We're still alive, just about, right? Just about. Let's try and do some overheads. Actually, let's try and do some overheads. That sounds pretty fun to me. We're basically taking very, very little damage right now, but unfortunately now the surround is coming in. There it is. That's okay, though. We can just continue to destroy that guy's shield, destroy these guys, get around the shield. There we are. Nice. As long as they are using their shields in such a defensive manner, we'll probably, well, yeah, as you can see right there, able to slice through them very, very easily. Gotta say, this sword is so fun to use, just purely because it feels very light. And what I mean by that is, it feels like an elvish blade. You see, it feels like an elvish blade, you know? And that's exactly the kind of feeling you want from an elvish blade. Yeah, I know, that sounds hilarious, doesn't it? But yeah, actually that is true, because you know, considering we are playing as an elf, you know, that kind of makes sense. But there are so many other forms of media, and I'm not even talking about, you know, mods here or even games to a certain degree, but obviously games in this particular example, where elves are, well, when you play as an elf, you don't really get the same feeling. You know what I mean? You don't really get the same feeling that you're using an elvish weapon or anything like that. There have been a couple of games in the past, in the last 20 years, for example. There's a game very specifically that I'm thinking of that has elves in it, and they are, frankly, I'm not even talking about the fact that they have to adhere to the, you know, the cliche that elves are all good with bows and so on and so forth, and they're all pretty and they all like the forest. No, you know, that's, I'm not saying that elves always have to be like that, because obviously they don't. But what I'm saying is, when you play this game that I'm thinking of, the elves themselves and the way that they play is very clunky. It feels clunky, and it doesn't feel light, it doesn't feel agile, it doesn't feel like they can be evasive in any way. It feels just very clunky. And that's what I'm talking about. You know, that's the reason why having a sword like this, and having the sword actually be really, really responsive for how you want it to act in these kinds of scenarios, it's amazing. It's really, really, really nice. So, yeah. Anyway, do I want to rescue anyone else? No, not really. We're just going to move on straight away. I'm making way too much money as it is, so there's no real point in me taking all these prisoners anyway. And there we have it. Okay, that is indeed it. GULDUR has now been destroyed, if you can believe it. Wow. Okay, that's actually kind of incredible. There it is. And let's actually just take a quick look at what's going on. Okay, so wait a minute. We have... Ah, there we go. Okay, so Isengard is actually still alive, because Grimslade was taken, by the way. And Kovnerth is the place that they have sought refuge. We will be going over there and eliminating them as soon as we possibly can, because then only Dunland will be remaining, as well as Mordor, of course, itself, which is indeed going to be a little bit of a problem, especially with Sauron, but we have actually defeated Sauron beforehand, so maybe it's actually not too bad. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.